Good morning or good evening, Andrew. Nice to meet you again here.
Hi Ulrike, it's great to be back.
Yes. You are in Australia, I'm in Germany, so one has night and one has morning. We are talking today about our main topic theme, the importance of mental fitness in today's academic environment and the well-being for the pupils.
Mm.
So let's define first the mental fitness. And I would love to start with it. For me, it's a holistic view to see the mental fitness because in there is the emotional fitness, the
Mm.
body fitness, the vitality, which is more than just healthy, being healthy,
Yes.
um, and all of this stuff, movement, sports, being fit, being curious, is everything together makes, for me, in my mind, makes the mental fitness for the well-being for the pupils. What is
Mm.
your definition, which you have?
Ulrike, I agree with everything you've said, if I can add a couple of other key words to it, when I talk about mental fitness with families and with teachers and with students, I talk about things like resilience, kids being able to bounce back from what they may perceive as, failures or disappointments. I talk about kids being able to regulate their own emotions. So if they're getting upset or they're getting angry or they're getting even overly excited, how do they manage that to keep on a reasonably even playing field? It's nice that we have our emotions may go up and down, so long as they can manage them. I talk about things like can they manage stress? So when they're facing exams, or when they're facing pressures, or when their friendships may not go according to plan, do they have that mental fitness and mental resilience to bounce back and still continue on with life? I think all those physical things you added are really, really important for the physical well-being, which adds to the mental well-being of children. Um, Mental well-being is so important, particularly if we want our children to have academic success as well as social success and physical success. So those elements I would just add to your definition.
Oh, that's great. Let's talk a little bit more. What is mental fitness and how can we bring it into schools? For me, it is
Mm.
point that we teach the children
Yeah,
tools and soft skills that
yeah,
they can manage the things you were talking about, the
yes,
stress reduction. Because who knows what can I do when I have stress? I need something, I need a tool which I can use. And for me, it is so important that we learn the children, even the young children in the kindergartens, that
mm,
they learn those tools and they learn how to balance themselves to cool
yes,
down.
absolutely. That self-regulation you just alluded to
Yes,
is so important. Um, I think you've also mentioned that we must teach children. We must give kids these skills. We can't just assume they have these skills.
yes,
When I work with students and I see my guidance counselors and my teachers working with students, we talk about the children being able to firstly read and understand their physical changes as to when they might be feeling stressed. And it might be, their heart's racing or they have a funny feel in their tummy or their breathing's getting different or they're feeling a bit anxious and they can feel it. They're getting a bit tense. And then we say, now, how can you manage that? And we have to physically teach them skills
yes,
so that they can be resilient and manage the stressful times in their life. And you're right, we teach it from a young age. I see more and more young children feeling stressed,
yes.
which is really sad in many, many ways. So we are really obliged to help our young children manage their emotions and manage their mental fitness so that they can achieve success in lots of areas in life.
And what do you think? Who is the main important person who is who could be open to learn mental fitness? Is it the pupils? Is it the teachers? Is it the parents? What do you think?
It's all of them, Ulrich. It's interesting. I suppose I often say that parents are the first educators of their
Yeah.
children. And I think children will not only learn formal skills, they'll also read mum and dad's cues, like their non-verbal cues. That if mum and dad appear stressed about something, then the child might feel that they're going to get stressed about something similar. So I think children will firstly learn off their parents.
Mm,
Having said that, I think teachers and guidance counselors and psychologists
mm,
might have the formal tools in their kit bag to be able to give instruction about practical tools and strategies that we can teach the children to manage those things. I think children, by and large, are very open to learning and are very open to ideas and willing to try things. So I think if parents can stay calm and teach children that the world is good and a nice, safe place, which it is most of the time,
mm.
and then the schools, through the teachers and the guidance counselors and psychologists, can give children the practical skills. Sometimes it's good that the schools can instruct the parents. So sometimes I have parent-teacher nights,
Yes. Yes.
and you might even get an expert in to
Yes.
come and say, listen, there's a lot of stress in the world for our children. You as parents deal with it. We as teachers deal with it. So let's listen to an expert give us some clues as to how we can instruct our children to manage these things. But I think you're right. I think we need parents, teachers, and the students. They're always willing. I think by and large, kids are very obliging in embracing new and exciting things.
Yes. What do you think about practicing meditation in schools and kindergartens?
Yeah, look, I think there's certainly a place for it. We live in a really busy world, and I
Mm,
think that adds to the stress on our young people.
mm,
And I think our children and our young students need to be able to just slow their whole body down, slow their mind down,
mm,
so that they can just, I suppose, center themselves is the language that I use, and they can just take stock of where they are and reassess and reevaluate and regulate their emotions and go, yep, I'm okay with all this. So the ability to breathe peacefully, to be still and to be calm and to be quiet is often so different from the busy world in which they live.
mm.
Um, and then I think, your passion is obviously music with students. That must play an important role, I would imagine, in working with young people.
Yes, of course. I studied music twice, so
Mm.
and I studied rhythm. I don't know whether you know what rhythm is.
Oh,
It is the combination between movement and music, which
great.
enhances already the mind and soul work. And
Yes,
on top, I used the soft skills in it. So with MEFI, MEFI, mental
yes,
fitness, I found out that we can use those lessons and start with music, that the kids go out of the chairs, that they
yes.
move in the rooms. It is not the thing that kids in school just do it. You have to bring them there, that they love
Mm.
to move to music and sing to it because the own
Yeah,
voice is such a good vibration that everything already comes together. And when we start a teaching lesson
yes,
with mental fitness, with music, and they move already, they are more open and they are more able to be quiet, to sit quiet
yeah, yeah.
afterwards. And
Right.
then you can start just 2 minutes meditation, or you
Yeah,
can start tools for emotional fitness. So I evolved a 45-minute session or lesson, which you especially can use for kindergartens, but also in schools and the
right.
upper classes, and it works. And
Yeah.
of course, we need different music. And of
Mm.
course, for the when they are like 13, 15, we cannot use the own made songs, or we have to let them make their
Yeah,
songs
yeah,
and use the music from the charts. That's okay. So there you have to know a little bit more. What can I use? Which is good, which is not so good. We have a lot of music which has bad vibration, but we have also a lot of music which we can use, which has a good vibration.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
if we combine this, it's so easy.
Yeah. Or in your experience, would it be very common that all children respond to music as a way to relax and self-regulate and calm down? It would be unusual if children don't respond to music, I would imagine.
Yes, normally they respond to the music.
Hmm. Yeah.
And if you lead them in a heartful way or in an
Yes.
open way to the music they love, not the
Yeah.
music I think is good for the whole
Yeah.
class. If we
Yeah.
open them, I mean, there are people they love jazz, the others love Baroque music, or
Yeah.
romantic, or romance, or pop music. I don't know. If we are, as pedagogues, open and as
Yes.
parents to the special music they love, then you can get a lead to the pupils
Yes.
and get them open. And this is the starter where you can open them for the mental stuff and working together with it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I also find, and this is probably more through my brother's experience, who is a music therapist, that music is something they're willing to try and listen to. And it also is sort of a third element as opposed to just two people talking. Music is the third element that can almost um, be a circuit breaker in some ways that
Mhm.
gives them a common language and a common element that they
Mhm.
can bond over without necessarily having direct eye contact with another person, which might be stressful, but they can engage with an instrument or engage with a sound or engage with movement,
Yes,
which is so important for our young people. Absolutely. Absolutely.
yes. And it keeps already the mind free. They have fun.
Well, and I think that's so important, which then I suppose leads on to the importance of the mental fitness for academic success. Because
Mm.
without that free mind, children aren't in a capacity to learn. Um, and I think that's one of the valuable lessons that we can share with our viewers and our listeners is that if we have children who are mentally fit and mentally capable and in a good well-being space, they've got greater capacity to learn
Yes,
and greater capacity to attend to learning. They will have greater retention of their work. Their memory is going to be increased. They'll have
mm.
better problem solving skills. They'll have improved concentration. If they can regulate their emotions,
Yes,
then they're not going to have the great highs and lows in class and at home,
yeah,
which means they've got more ability to attend to learning. So there's no doubt the
yes,
importance of mental fitness and mental well-being on the academic capabilities
yes.
of our students. Would you agree?
Of course, I would agree. Yes, it is a thing which should be a basic for everybody.
Yeah.
Babies who are born, the moms who are pregnant should learn it already because
Mm.
already there it starts that the baby feels the emotion and they can
Yes,
be positive or negative, but
very much so.
they are not always positive.
No,
It's a
no, that's
lie
very
if
true.
it's a lie if we tell us I am always positive and I have always
No,
good vibes. That's not true. So everybody can change something, and I think we have to do it for the common generations.
yeah, you're
It,
right. And look, it starts, as you said, when the baby's in the womb, the stress that mums
mm,
will exhibit will be
yeah,
added to the baby. If the mum is calm, then the baby will be calm. When the baby is born and they become an infant and a child, um, as I mentioned earlier, they will feed off their parents. They will feed off the stress of their parents.
and
So we can't
yes,
underestimate. the parents' response to their own emotional well-being, which then will be feeding onto the child's own emotional response
Yes.
to their well-being. But we'll teach them, in schools and in through your type of music therapy. I think we have the capacity to really make a difference in the mental well-being of our young people,
Yes.
which is because that will then lead on to academic success. It will lead on to success in life, because they're under so much stress and pressure at the moment. They need supportive environments around them with a whole lot of tools and skills.
Yes. And as you see in the schools, um,
Mm.
there are kids who are stressed, but they learn it from
Oh,
their parents also.
yes.
And if they learn it as a baby, being
Yeah,
stressed is normal,
yeah,
then they come to school and they know, okay, it is normal to be stressed. So
absolutely.
where shall we start? I think a baby, a child should learn to be
Yeah,
happy, just joyful.
absolutely. It's interesting, Ulrich. One of the lessons that we have to teach children, which sounds a bit funny, is that they have to learn that failing or not doing everything perfectly is okay,
Mhm.
and to have another go at it the next time. I often talk about a child's resilience will be when they fall down, they pick themselves up again. If they don't always get everything right in school, that's okay because it's an opportunity to learn. Now, if children see that they make a mistake or they fail and they don't want to try again or they don't want to risk again, that's not helpful and not doing them or their teachers or their families any good at all. So we have to be able to let children know that failing is an opportunity to learn. Not that we fail on purpose, but you're not going to get everything right in life all the time. And how you bounce back from those mistakes or those errors is really, really important. And I think the older children get without failing,
Yes.
then when they do fail for the first time, it's a really big hurdle. And often you may have seen it, but when people get to university and they've cruised through life, they've cruised through school, and all of a sudden they hit university and something goes wrong and they fail a subject or they don't get 100% in an exam, their whole world falls apart. Well,
Mhm.
if they've learnt from a young age that, yes, I can't get everything perfectly all the time, and that's okay, I'm going to continue to learn, I'm going to continue to improve, then that's a really important lesson to learn. And it sounds funny, but teaching kids how to cope with not being perfect is
Mhm.
really important so that, they do bounce back and they are resilient and they can continue to learn. So there's lots of lessons in life that we have to give our young
Mhm.
people.
Yes, of course. And the good thing is, we can change it always in every
Yeah,
age, and everybody can start. The
absolutely.
parents, the teachers, the schools,
Mm, mm.
and with the kids. Yeah, I think it is important, just like we try to do it, to bring. I don't get the English word. Sorry. To
You're doing
bring it
well.
into the world,
Yes.
what we know about it, that the parents and the teachers and the schools have the chance to hop on and say, hey, cool, we want to have this in our school. And
Yeah.
how do you do it, Andrew or Ulrich, in
Yeah.
wherever, however, and we can work together. That's a great
Yeah.
thing.
I think more and more parents are looking for advice and for wisdom and for strategies, which is great,
Mm,
because I think more and more young people are appearing to be stressed and under pressure, and I think parents, by and large, want what's best for their children and are often reaching out
mm,
to people like yourself or to schools or to teachers or counselors to say, "I need some tools, I need some help,"
mm.
which is great that parents are doing that. It's just a little sad for me to see young children under so much pressure at a young age. As you said, they should be children. They should be playing and full of joy in life
Yes, yes.
without being stressed and pressured, at a young age.
They are born to have fun and,
Absolutely.
yep,
Very much so.
and to be curious, to see the world, to
Yes.
bring things into this world, which could be new cars, or I don't know,
Yes.
airplanes. I want to have a little airplane next to my
Yes.
house.
Yes.
So, yeah, but it doesn't exist. I think those young people, they are the ones who have the techniques, but they need the creativity and
Yeah.
the mental stuff first, that they can be creative again and
Mm,
evolve everything and, yeah, just be curious for what can we
absolutely.
do? How can we change? So good.
That word curious is so important.
Yeah,
And I love hearing you say that because children, I think most children naturally ask questions. They want to know
yeah,
how things work.
yeah,
They want to explore the world, and they should be curious. I often say to my teachers, if you don't know all the answers, that's fine, and go and find the answers. But if kids are asking questions, it's fantastic.
it is.
And if kids work together, it's fantastic. And that's also about mental resilience because collaborating together and sharing ideas and bouncing off each other and accepting ideas and debating ideas, they're all sort of mental fitness skills that we should be encouraging our children to practice because that will then lead to expand their curiosity and say, well, if this didn't work, I'm going to try this. And if that didn't work, I'm going to try this. And we'll do it together and we'll share ideas. And look, I think it's so exciting that children can collaborate when they're mentally fit and capable
Mhm.
to make their world a better place. Because, these are the future leaders, aren't they?
Yes, that's it. Wow, so great, your words. I love it.
Right.
I wanted to ask you one more point. What do
Please.
what do you think of the seeking of the social support and
Yep.
the mobiles they have? What do you
Yeah.
think? How could we deal to bring mental fitness together, or how bad or good is it to use them in schools
Yeah.
or not?
Yeah. Ulrike, that's a really good question. And let me tell you what happens in Australia. Um,
Okay.
Children aren't supposed to have access to social media until they're, I think it's 14, and I think the governments might be trying to make it 16.
Ah,
All right. Which means they shouldn't be on things like Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram until they're about 16. Um, because I think technology can be a really exciting place and it can be a really exciting tool. It can also be a dangerous tool. And I think for young people, I much prefer to see them developing the interpersonal skills with their peers and with their parents and with their
mm,
teachers before we give them devices which can absorb their mind and their time far too much, in my opinion.
mhm,
Uh, Having said that, I know there are some apps and there are some
mm,
communication tools that people go, well, this is going to upskill my child. The device is only as good as the person using it. And I would much prefer to see children, particularly primary school, from 4 and 5-year-olds through to 12 and 13-year-olds. I'd much
mhm,
prefer to see them developing their interpersonal skills. As they get older, they will no doubt be on devices and communicating with their friends. That is I have to offer parents a word of caution about that because it's important that parents know who their children are talking to. It's important that they can monitor their children's engagement
mhm,
with devices. You don't want children getting caught up with undesirable people who
mm,
you don't know
yes,
behind the scenes. So while devices exist and they're certainly a communication tool and they're not going to go away, they're just going to become more fancy. I think parents and teachers need to be very cautious about
yeah,
using devices. There's actually a chapter in my first book where I talk about this. I also think that parents need to be strong enough to say no to their children,
yes,
regardless of what their peers are doing. I also think parents need to be parents and not necessarily be friends. I often have parents say to me, Andrew, I don't want to breach my child's privacy. A young child doesn't have any privacy matters regarding technology.
mm,
There's no reason why a child should be on a device that is unsupervised by an adult. So I think parents need to be a parent, um, have the right to say no, have the right to set boundaries for their children. But
yes.
look, devices exist. We've just got to be very cautious about managing it. But what are your thoughts about devices and technology?
I think up to 12. They should
Yep.
learn how to work with it in a senseful way.
Yep.
And under 7, I would say no,
Yeah.
put it away.
Yep.
Even if they see you, I mean, they can see pictures or videos where they are on their own there, which they made
Mm.
on their own
Yeah.
from the holidays or whatever. And but not to use games and
No.
to see news, stuff like that. This is
Mm.
not made for kids because it
No.
brings them more to fear than to joy.
Yes.
And the children under 7, they are so in a theta wave, brainwave,
Mm. Mm.
they believe everything. And because
Absolutely.
of that, I would say never give it to them.
Yep.
Just if you want to look to pictures, that is okay.
Mm. Mm.
But put it away. Don't show them TV. This is my opinion.
Yeah.
And then they should learn step by step how to use it sensibly.
Yes.
But also in Germany, I see moms walking with the kids sleeping in the front, phoning with their
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
they don't have time a lot, and they also need the social, um, yeah, commitment that they have friends. That is okay, and therefore a mobile is good. So we
Mm.
have to find a way where we can manage that because the kid, when it's sleeping,
Yes.
anyway listens what the
Yeah.
mom is talking.
Absolutely. There's a saying that I use in my book, and I do it when I do parent nights about we should give children more green time, outdoor time, playtime,
Yeah,
than we should give them screen time. Um,
that's
and
it.
in fact, in Australia, there's recommendations about how many hours a week children should be on screens and devices.
Mhm.
Let kids be kids. They'll be on devices from teenagers all the time. But those formative years when their brain's developing, and when their interpersonal skills should be developing and their
Mhm.
mental fitness should be developing.
Yes,
I agree with you. Park the devices, leave them. There's a time and place for them, but at a young age, let them learn the interpersonal skills would be my preference.
yes. Thank you so much, Andrew. We were talking a little bit longer today. It's so interesting to talk to you. Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Fantastic, Ulrich. Good to chat. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.